I grew up eating cup noodles, specifically Maruchan. Don't laugh. It was because that's what my parents bought for me. I had zero standards. I was a kid, and like any kid, that food grew on me. See, I never tried any other kinds of cup noodles, sticking to only different variations of Maruchan like shrimp, beef, and chicken. It's not until my friends told me about a new kind of ramen I should try did I come to realize I should really open up my palate to new experiences. And thankfully, this is a relatively affordable experience too. So, late one afternoon, or early night, I went to my local Walmart and bought every single kind of noodle cup there was. And the total was only 40 bucks. For 12 of them, don't do the math. I'm going to try each one and rank them based on their cost, preparation, and taste. I will also be giving each noodle cup its own power play. What is that? Have a little patience, why don't you? It's something that gives it a distinct reason to try it. Because everything should be tried at least once, no matter how awful Mifo tasted. Because I grew up on Maruchan, you might think that's what I'm going to be ranking them against. Well, no. I plan to let each cup stand on its own. So if it's great, it's because it's a good noodle cup. Period. Also, I totally did this just for fun, so if you see your favorite noodles here, and I say it sucks, it's just my opinion that your taste sucks, not a fact. Unless you like Mifo, then it's a fact. Also, I didn't Bing how to judge noodles like some kind of chef, because that wouldn't be speaking from the heart, and also that would be more work for me. So you'll just get my reactions and thoughts. We Kiwi? The way I went about making this tier list was to give each noodle cup its own moment to shine, making it exactly how we are directed to by the cup. And I added nothing to any cup except its own ingredients and some hot water. I spent a week eating all 12 noodle cups. It's kind of amazing how tiring it gets to eat noodles. Parappa was right, get me some McDonald's. Just kidding, I grew up with that as a kid too. I'm hooked on the stuff. Mom, Dad, why did you buy me Happy Meals every Friday? I could have been president if I wasn't eating quarter pounders every day. Noodle time. Let's start off this tier list with a noodle cup that I could see myself in, Tapatio. Coming in at 118 a cup. That's pretty average for noodles. I bought the original version, and by default, Tapatio is hot. From one Hispanic to another, I can say that's a pretty darn Hispanic thing of you to do, making hot default. And you know what that means? That means this hot is for babies. You want stuff that'll burn holes in your cheeks? You get extra spicy. That's the good stuff. Anyway, preparing this cup or bowl was pretty simple. Pop it open, add the soup base, hot water, and wait 3 minutes. Presto, your sombrero wearing noodles are ready. And I have to say, these noodles were pretty nice. They were plump and firm and carried that spiciness from the broth and seasoning really well. Okay, the noodles were a bit on the chewy side, but it really didn't detract from how delicious it was. I enjoyed the broth too. Not only did it look great, but it tasted excellent. Thankfully, this wasn't some pretend spicy, you actually get a kick of heat. I finished this cup of noodles after recording, it was that good. My final judgment is it gets a spot on A tier. Good overall with very little downsides. You know, unless you can't handle small amounts of spicy. Seriously, it's fun hot, like hot Cheetos or Doritos, and that's its power play. Spicy. Alrighty, I'm feeling pretty good, which is great, because next is Mike's Mighty Good Ramen. And at 172, you better be telling me the truth, Mike. I should be getting on my knees praising how well made your bar style steamed handcrafted noodles are for that price. Not even making a joke. On your website, your noodles are something you're super proud of. Even talking about starting a revolution, heads on pikes. Seriously though, it's great that you care so much about what people are putting into their bodies. So I'm sure that this healthy ramen will taste great. On to preparation. Simple enough. We pop the lid, add the base, and what is this? We also get an oil packet. Now I'm excited. As a person who drinks oil, I'm glad that Mike put some into this ramen cup. The directions did throw me off. What I thought it was telling me to do was add the base, then the oil, and then the water. It could have been I was supposed to wait 6 minutes and then add the oil. Honestly, Mike, I think your product is so good that a screw up so menial wouldn't harken my experience at all, right? I should have waited to add that oil. Because this was not the mighty good I was mighty expecting. At a glance, the noodles look great, super firm too. And the broth, wow. The presentation is outstanding. Then you smell it, it's not pleasant. You expect a warm scent of chicken stock. Instead, you get a sharp, sour smelling thing crawling up your nose. If that didn't drive you away, the flavorless cardboard noodles surely will. Seriously, they didn't absorb any of the broth, and hell, the broth was pretty flavorless too. You may have a hint of chicken taste, but the most noticeable thing that you experience when you eat it is swallowing it. All in all, it's not worth the asking price as a meal. However, if you want to buy something that'll make your kitchen look more hip and modern, yeah, this would work. It looks better than it tastes. There is no metaphor I can work into this. Anyway, it gets a spot on D tier. Fails as noodles but succeeds in fashion, which is what all starving people care about, right? Atmosphere. I need a break from stuff that's trying to relate to me on a celluloid level. Let's try something a bit more culturally diverse, like Vietnamese pho noodles coming in at a pricey $2.08. Gosh, why so much? Is it an imported product? Or is turmeric just that good of an ingredient? You certainly boast about it on the cup. But hey, you got other good things going for you too, like having no MSG and being a woman owned company. Also, the art is pretty sick too. It all looks promising and gives me the impression it's good. Let's hope this isn't some facade. Let's get going. Pull the top, take a look, and hey, that looks different. For a moment, I thought this was a DIY nest kit, along with a packet of seasoning, so when you catch that robin, you can salt it up and chow it down. Inside the blue packet was some, I guess it's turmeric. I needed it just like the instructions commanded me to. The problem with these packets, as I've come to figure out, is that I can't just rip it open. That risks the base getting spilled all over my floor. If that happens, the ants will come. Anyway, I cut the turmeric open and, oh god. This looks a bit, should I censor this? No, it makes it look worse. However, it smelled really nice, a very pleasant, spicy odor. What wasn't pleasant was looking into it. I sure hope it looks and tastes better after 3 minutes of preparation. 3 minutes later, and yeah, I guess it looks nicer. Looking pretty deep colored, I gave it a stir to dissolve all the turmeric. Took a peek at the noodles and it's tapeworms. I'm going to be eating tapeworms. I thought we stopped doing that in the 1920s. Oh well, old trends die hard. Taking a bite, I noticed two things immediately: stringy and flavorless. You really had to yank these tapeworms to pull them apart. When I did start chewing, I didn't get any flavor. Then I took a sip of the broth itself, and hey, it was actually not that bad. It had that spiciness that the cup art was talking about. Shame none of that flavor transferred over to the worms. I gave it the time it asked me to be cooked for. What am I supposed to do? Wait longer than 3 minutes? This is supposed to be a quick snack, not a high society meal. Really, though, I can't see this as a snack I would want to try again later. The cooked product didn't look that great. The noodles were okay, but it reminded me of that thing I had when I was 6. The broth, however, while looking dirty, it tasted very nice and spicy. It's for those reasons that Vietnamese pho noodles gets a spot on E tier, because I can't see myself finishing it on the turmeric broth alone. Not to mention, it's pricey at $2. That's like getting your teeth pulled out at the dentist without getting a lollipop at the end. So what if I'm an adult? Give me my candy, you jerk. Next up is bowl noodle, coming in at only 98 cents. Now that's affordable right there. However, thanks to taxes, I think the final price comes to $100. The bowl art is a little less appealing than everything else we looked at so far. Rather plain shapes and plain colors. Really, I think this box just wanted to get your attention of its brand name, flavor, and ease of prep. No kneading paste or adding oil after 6 minutes. Anyway, let's get to the star of the bowl, the noodles, and kimchi. Unpacking wasn't that hard. Just tear off the cardboard and pop the top. You got your base. And a pretty underwhelming amount of seasoning in there. I guess it's all in the packet. Noodles are looking pretty small too, not really my preference. I like big and soft, not thin and sharp. Anyways, hot water in and wait 3 minutes. And there we go, it is done. Wow, talk about appealing, look at that. The noodles look great, and the color is very nicely deep red. The smell, too, is just out of this world. You get that spicy smell and a hint of kimchi, or whatever was in this packet. Tasting it, my word, it is great. Simply, the noodles are firm, but tear easily, and they've gotten big too, making a mouthful of the stuff easy to get. The noodles absorbed the broth, which was great because the broth tasted as spicy and savory as the looks implied. It's all very pleasant. Still really hot though because I only waited 3 minutes. I ate all of this stuff off screen. Yeah, the sodium is about 57%, but hey, I'm no health nut. Listen, these are cheap noodle cups, not a handful of lettuce. That's why I give bowl noodle S rank. It does everything right. Tender, flavorful noodles, deliciously thick broth, easy to follow instructions with an ultra affordable price, making it both convenient and delicious. It has no downsides, giving it the power play of having Mario stats. Sure, it doesn't excel at anything, but shit, it doesn't fuck up anywhere either. What can surpass the jack of all trades? A master of one? Cup noodle seafood comes in at 124. It is a fair price for something that contains seafood, or something that is pretending very hard to be seafood. Japan seems to like it. And I like how it's looking too, with that lid giving us a really wonderful look at what's inside. I am going to follow the lid's advice on how to get the most satisfying meal, which is nice and simple. Tear it open, add water, wait, eat, and be happy. Don't be sad. I don't like sad. Be happy. Don't look at the sodium level. Be happy. Let's break it open, and wow, they really filled this cup up. It's got bits of, I guess, crab, scrambled eggs, which I thought was roe, and cabbage. Hell, they even have the soup base mixed in, saving us the trouble of getting ants. Convenience. You're doing it right, number one seafood cup in Japan. Let's get some water in you. Opening it up impressed me. The noodles, while a bit limp, had a nice cooked color to them. They seemed tender, if just a bit thin. Kinda wondering where the foam came from. Might be that sea authenticity. The crab meat and not roe both cooked well and tasted alright. It was more of a textural experience with those rather than flavor. The flavor came from the broth, and it was tasty. It was very easy to get a spoonful of everything, thanks to the noodles being so small and lean. So them being not as tasty didn't really hinder the experience. If you were to close your eyes and eat this, you'd totally imagine you were at a seaport, eating noodles with your fellow scurvy riddled pirate friends. It was a great experience that left me feeling pretty cool. Now, because it left me feeling cool and also satisfied with my purchase, I'm putting it in the B tier. Haha, curveball. Really, it's because I'm usually not in the mood for seafood. When I am hungry, I want hot. This is hot not. When I am in the mood for an affordable seafood experience, this is definitely going to leave me feeling like I spent my time and money well. Next on the list is Blazing Hot X Extra Hot Hot and Spicy Bowl with chili sauce. Jesus, they're really trying to drive the point home here. At 98 cents, that's a lot of spices and heat you need to deliver. I will say this packaging does look pretty metal. Look at all those peppers, black and red text. The bowl is on fire. Alright, you sold me. I expect this to make me breathe fire. Let's tear it open, and inside we got 3 packets. One is the soup base, the other is the seasoning, and chili sauce. All optional, I guess. So if you're too scared to burn your body, you can just add the seasoning and you'll be fine. But I'm no wimp. I'm adding both the seasoning and the base all at once. And wow, when I did add the base, it did smell very spicy. Maybe I can't handle this. Alrighty, let's fill this beast up. I am pretty eager. I am a fan of the heat. Opening it up, and we get a bowl filled to the brim with noodles. Right on. They look a little bit thin, but hey, they're pretty covered with the seasoning. So even if the noodles aren't, that flavorful, they got the seasoning to cover it up. Very clever. The broth is a bit pale looking. What happened to the oodles of deep red base I put into it just now? And it's got a weird smell too. Nothing like peppers or chili. Just a strange mix of vegetable mix. Taking a nibble, I noticed the noodles' thinness. and then the softness came into play. Kind of melt in your mouth rather than chew. That broth, though, talk about deceiving looks, this broth rocks. They do indeed deliver on the heat. Not so hot that your esophagus melts, but a rather yummy kind of heat, like hot Cheetos, or accidentally inhaling water. And that's without the chili sauce. With it, well, more or less the same thing, maybe a little spicier. With a heaping smell of lime. Hints of lime? Nah, man. You put your nose near this bowl, you swear this thing is made out of nothing but limes going by that smelly smell. Man, blazing hot noodle is like a roller coaster ride. Can't say that's what I'm looking for in a meal. Maybe when I play Bean Boozled, but not from my noodles. If my noodles taste like rotten eggs, I'm not going to think it's fun. I'm going to vomit on the floor, and then the ants will come. And no one wants that. That's why I'm giving this bowl a C spot on the tier list. I can easily finish this because of that wonderful broth, but the thin and soft noodles, while unoffensive, left me thinking that there are better options out there at this price range. We'll find out soon enough. Get it? Coming in at only 98 cents, soon Veggie Cup breaks the stereotype of healthy foods by being both affordable and unhealthy. Not that I care, the vegan society certainly doesn't. Not much really to say about the art. I mean, it looks nice, mostly green, but it really doesn't try anything to stand out. Where's the flaming leaves or a goldfish? Something to change it up, guys. Come on, you're part of the vegan society. Anyway, taking a peek inside, we see a pleasing soup packet, already making me feel refreshed and healthy. Which is a good thing, because they are certainly stingy with the amount of actual fruits and veggies that are in this cup. Adding in the base and hot water, we will now wait 3 minutes. Looking in, and that looks tasty. Unlike a few other noodle cups we looked at, this is appealing to the eyes and nose. Surprising how that's not a standard feature in these noodle cups. But yeah, the noodles look nice and tender. Veggies, while few, are also looking nice. After taking a bite from Vegan Society's finest meal, I noticed that these noodles are very tough. You gotta really pull them apart while eating them, although it's not that bad. It's still noticeable. Once you do get a mouthful, though, it's very good. Nice and easy to chew, but not too soft that it feels unsatisfying. The broth itself, it tastes kinda like chicken broth without the chicken. Remember eating chicken soup when you were sick and it made you feel really good and ready to walk around the park? Yeah, similar feelings are happening here. Thank you, Soon Veggie. You made me remember the times I was ill in my youth. And it is for that reason you're getting a spot on beat here. Because it's not something that I'd buy several packs of like with bowl noodle. Instead, it's one of those noodles I'd want to buy if I wanted to be taken back to the times I was a kid. Sick and needing a bowl of chicken soup made from dear mother. But mom's not here and neither is her cooking, so this cheap Walmart noodle will do. Thank you, Walmart and Vegan Society. You're my new mom and dad. Next up is a special case, coming in at around $2, Buldak x2 spicy chicken. And one word can sum up the packaging: threatening. You know how I keep talking about how much I love spicy food? Well, my friends know my love of all things hot, and told me to try this out. And really, how could I say no? Look at that little chicken. It's so angry that it's breathing fire and holding a bomb. I'm excited. Let's get this out of there. Now, because I live in an area where the closest stove is several miles away, I opted to cook this inside my coffee maker. Because really, a stove and a coffee pot are the same thing. Seriously, point to one thing that's different between the two. Here's the result, and my oh my is that red. That packaging wasn't screwing around. But it smells absolutely delicious. Imagine smelling fire. It's sweet, pleasing, and really wants to melt you. The noodles were pretty big too, very firm. This is actually the heaviest noodles I've tried so far. I could throw that veggie noodle cup I reviewed at someone and they'd only be mildly annoyed. You throw this at them and they'll be out cold. Most likely because it's in a glass bowl now. Anyway, those tiny seeds are looking scary. That's definitely going to be what gets me. Let's give it a bite. After some choking and gasping for breath, I gotta say, this stuff is amazing. The noodles are so good. They're big, tender, and chew so nicely. And because the sauce sticks to those noodles, They deliver that wonderful burning taste of pepper, and thankfully, it's all just spicy chicken flavor. The actual Scoville within this is in those seeds hidden all around, so one bite could be yummy, and the next bite will make you want to put down the bowl and pray for the pain to be over, so you can continue eating this amazing dish. Unfortunately, this can't be bought around town as easily as the other noodles I reviewed. By which I mean, these aren't sold in Walmart. I mean, I saw some of these at Garden Fresh. My preferred choice to get it is at Amazon, which takes a bit of waiting. The waiting is so worth it though. When you eat this, you will understand why it belongs in S tier. Noodles firm, sauce tasty, leaves you feeling full and wanting more. Really, eating this is an experience, one that I fully endorse. Up next is Maruchan coming in at 37 cents. And what do I see when I look at this packaging? That's a complicated question. I have eaten these for as long as I could remember. I've always wondered, why this shit? Why the comfort food? Why couldn't we get something more useful? Like maybe cable, so I could stop rewatching Lion King on VHS? Or possibly a heater for my room during the cold nights. There's water running down the walls when it rains, which makes me wonder, when are we going to get running water so we can stop hauling buckets everywhere? It's not until I grew up that I remembered, oh yeah, I lived in squalor. Wasn't all bad though. I did live on a ranch with a lot of animals, which means the meat was always fresh, and I could play with the chickens all I wanted, and there was no shortage of space I could run around and play in. When I got hungry, I could always count on this Maruchan in the pantry. Anyway, enough deep thought, let's open this up. And hey, that's a pretty nice amount of stuff you get for the price. Lots of corn, an okay serving of beef bits. The soup base seems to have already been added, which saves us the trouble. Noodles are looking a bit small, almost angel hair thin. Well, maybe it'll grow in size once I heat it up some. Let's fill her up. And a wonderful sight. Wow, this is appetizing. The noodles are cooked and now a bit less thin. The broth has a wonderful color and smell to it. The veggies are bright and are tasty looking, and the beef. I want to try that. Gosh, I should have just kept looking. The noodles are soft, way too soft. You can't really chew these noodles, they break apart so easily. They are not delightfully tender either. That being said, when combined with the broth and veggies, it becomes a texturally fun meal. Because it's all almost completely flavorless. You smell the beef broth more than taste it, and the clump of meat, which I think is cardboard, is so tasteless. But it's not bad, it just has zero going for it. I feel like this demands you add an egg or some of your own sauce into the mix, which I used to do. I personally enjoy adding hot sauce to it. Then it became a wonderful textural experience that had a spicy kick to it. Now I can finish this all no problem. Overall, without adding anything to it, it would be in D tier, as it is almost entirely flavorless, but still edible because it is so unoffensive. However, because it is dirt cheap at 37 cents, I'm going to guess that you probably did what I did, and add salsa, eggs, and more seasoning on top of this, making this a very affordable noodle base to carry other flavors and food of your choosing. So, with a bit of assembly, it gets a spot in C tier. Coming in at 98 cents, it's looking pretty fancy. It's selling me on the cup art alone. Even though I haven't a clue what any of this says, it still looks very good. I do see the word spicy there right near that big letter. That's promising. And wowzers, the ingredients. That's a lot of them. I do see that it will have some mushrooms in there too. Something I always want to get to enjoying, but never can seem to. Let's see them mushrooms, eh? Oh wow, mushrooms, there they are, along with some thin slices of what I assume are carrots and peppers. By the way, have you noticed the lighting is getting better as we go along? I'm not much of a studio man, but we all need to start somewhere. Anyway, water and base in, noodles and no broth out. I see noodles, they seem alright. Where's the broth? The noodles suck it all up? I'd be expecting juicier noodles then. Well, the broth is there, but I really need to dig for it. It does appear colorful and soupy after taking a bite. I did notice a few things though. One, it is odorless, and two, these noodles are immensely soft, almost on par with the Maruchan. The broth is okay, it has some kick to it, not that I really notice it. There's flavors there, but it's all pretty meh. I can't even really tell you what it tasted like. Yeah, Shin Noodle didn't really excite me on any points. I don't think I'll be buying this again. which is why it's going into E tier. It's not bad, but it's also way too strange to enjoy. It's like an old salad. It looks cool, it's very colorful, but it's mushy to eat, and you probably will be wondering why not just eat something else. Kimchi Noodle. Coming in at 98 cents, that's a bargain. We even get real kimchi, no more wood shavings. Oh, wait, these cooking directions look super familiar. And so do the ingredients and calorie amount. It's the same product. Wait, it's vegan? I didn't notice that there was any meat in Shin. Well, I guess the essence of anchovy counts. Yeah, whatever. Maybe it'll look different on the inside. Nope, exactly 1-to-1 here. Noodles, seasoning, all alike, right down to the soup base. Maybe it'll taste different? It certainly looks the same as Shin Noodle when cooked. Although that smell is strange, let me tell you. It's vegetables, alright, but not any that I've ever smelled. Probably is that kimchi. The taste doesn't hold up any better, it's just kind of bland and meh. Amazing, isn't it? This is Shin's shittier twin. Nothing about it is enjoyable. It's everything that Shin Noodle Cup was, but worse. How is that even possible? This gets a spot on F tier. No redeeming qualities, off with you. And we are at the last noodle bowl, coming in at 198. It's Mifo Beef with sriracha. It's got some interesting looking bowl art. The sriracha looks a bit strange, kind of like it was put there with little care for the down to earth design it had going. These are Vietnamese rice noodles. Interesting, I think we had that before. Wasn't a big fan of it then, maybe this will swing my feelings. It's even 200 calories. That is a very good amount. Hang on. How much sodium is in this? 76%? Oh geez, nothing 76 is ever good for you. Nothing. I guess it'll taste good. Let's open it up. Inside the bowl, we get the standard soup base and seasonings. But also, it looks like the noodles themselves are in plastic wrapping. First time seeing that. Then we get the sriracha. What an odd little bowl we got here. I'm curious about this now. Let's release the tapeworms yet again. Not sure why I call it that when I'm going to be eating them. Right then, let's add some water. 3 minutes in, and oh no. This looks like sewer water. I wasn't ready for that. The noodles look gross. They're all shiny and see through. I will say the smell is both strange but nice. It's an ultra strong piney smell. You know that thing that you hang on your car? Exactly that. And eating it was a mistake. It is hard. Like, instead of being chewy, it breaks into what feels like paper. And the broth. Listen, the smell of pine is great, but do you want to eat pine? It tastes wooden and the smell gets stronger. Nothing is working here. It's so unpleasant to look at, smell, and eat. I really didn't want to take another bite. However, maybe with sriracha it will taste better. It didn't. Oh gosh. Alright. Best for last? More like Tassel Roth Tesb. All the qualities are irredeemable. Noodles are tasteless, super tough, and it feels like swallowing paper. The broth smells really harsh, and it tastes like boiled bark. And the cost is way too high for something this substantialist. F. F. No, please, I think I need to vomit. So there we have it. 12 noodles that you can find at Walmart for cheap. Besides Buldak ramen. A takeaway from this is that more expensive doesn't always mean better. And on the flip side, cheapest isn't that good either. Noodles around the dollar mark seem to be the way to go. If you want a cheap experience with no downsides, try some bowl noodle. Or if you want to burn to death, go with Buldak. If you want hot, but not burning hot, eat Tapatio. Blah blah blah. The reason I did this test was because of my love for Maruchan. It's cheap, like me. It gets around, like me. And it's delicious, Eating it again after many months brought me memories I shared with you earlier. So I sought to find better alternatives. And it looks like I did. And maybe after watching me eat all those noodles and losing my neck in the process, did you find something you might want to try to eat too? If you want to see all 12 noodle reviews unedited in order, look around for it. I'm sure you'll find it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.